Did you hear that? May contain subject matter not intended for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Did You Hear That? A podcast presented to you by Pensacola Paranormal Research Group. Sit back and enjoy today's podcast with your host, Jason Balbuena. It's time to go on a ride. Did you hear that? Is now live. Welcome to episode 16 and the final show for season 1. On this episode, we're going to talk about the man who helped invent and better spirit communication, Gary Galka. So we're going to leave the haunted houses and the legendary ghosts behind, and we're going to meet the man who tried to build a bridge between life and what lies beyond. This is the story of Gary Galka, an engineer, a grieving father, and a man who turned tragedy into a mission to give families a chance to speak again with those they lost. So let's take a look back. So Gary Galka grew up in central Connecticut in what he describes as a regular blue-collar working-class family. Professionally, he earned a degree in electronics and electrical engineering. He worked for companies specializing in medical imaging, process measurement, and instrumentation, gaining deep technical knowledge in sensors, detectors, temperature pressure, transducers, and signal analysis. But everything changed in 2004. His daughter, Melissa Galka, died in a tragic car accident. She was only 17. Devastated but unwilling to abandon hope, Gary says that soon after her death, strange things began to happen in the home. Such things as lights flickering, doorbell ringing when no one was at the door, TV channels changing on their own, and the sense of a presence, even what he describes as his daughter sitting beside him in bed. But he decided to channel his grief and technical skills into something new, inventing tools for the unknown. With his background in electronics and instrumentation, Gary began experimenting, building devices to detect subtle environmental changes, electromagnetic fields, EMF, temperature fluctuations, ambient vibrations, and other anomalies that many ghost hunters believe signal paranormal presence. He founded a company called DAS Distribution Incorporated and created what became known as the Melmeter series. The Melmeter was the first production commercially available instrument designed exclusively for paranormal investigators. The Melmeter series was even named after Melissa, a personal tribute rooted in loss and longing. The Mel meter, which is the Mel 8704, as Gary described it, the 87 is the year that she was born, and the 04 is the year that she transferred into spirit. Galka's stated goal was not just to investigate ghosts, but to offer, for grieving families like his own, a path toward after-death communication. And in 2012, the world got a glimpse into the Galka family's story when the crew of Ghost Adventures visited their home for a very special episode entitled The Galka Family. On that show, the team used Gary's own devices, including the Mel meter and spirit box. The family and crew claimed to capture a voice, allegedly Melissa's, saying, "Hi, Daddy, I love you." The episode became one of the most emotional and controversial in the show's history, drawing both believers and skeptics. For Gary, this was more than evidence. It was personal. He hoped his work might give closure, or at least connection, to other bereaved people. Galka's inventions didn't just serve his personal mission, they changed the tools of ghost hunting. Today, Mel meters, spirit boxes, and other devices invented by him, which are 30 plus, are widely used in paranormal investigations. Many television shows, indie ghost hunting teams, and enthusiasts rely on them as part of their standard gear. His devices help to push the paranormal from candlelit seances and subjective antidote towards a more scientific, or at least technology-driven approach to investigating the unexplained. In a way, Gary Galka helped define the modern ghost hunting generation, blending engineering, personal grief, and spiritual hope. Not everyone is convinced, as many claims. There's a course of critics, of course. The evidence often relies on subjective interpretation, EMF fluctuations, ambient noises, radio static, or the human tendency to find patterns. Radio frequency sweeping, used by the spirit box, can easily pick up stray broadcasts, interference, or just pure noise. Some say that what's heard is simply random radio fragments, not spirits. Extraordinary claims, like a voice of a deceased loved one, demand extraordinary evidence. It's difficult to rule out confounders, faulty wiring, electromagnetic interference, suggestion, or confirmation bias. Nevertheless, Gary himself says he approaches investigations with a combination of technical caution and personal conviction. He claims he overanalyzes a situation and doesn't run paranormal research impulsively. But he also says he knows from personal experience that there is something beyond the material world. But Gary Galka's story is as much about grief as it is about ghosts. He turned personal tragedy into a mission, a way to explore the possibility of death isn't final. His inventions gave thousands of people the tools to investigate, to hope, and maybe connect. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, his work stands as a testament to humans' longing, memory, and the drive to understand what lies beyond our senses. And perhaps, for some who've lost loved ones, even a chance at hope. Gary Galka is not a typical ghost hunter. He isn't chasing fame or headline-grabbing events. He's a father, engineer, and someone who's refused to give up on his daughter. He reminds us that the search for the unknown is often born into the deepest pain, and that sometimes the tools we build are not just for discovery, but for healing. Thank you for tuning in to this episode, as this is our season ender for the year. We will be back next year for season 2, when we kick off with the most fun and interesting part of the new season. It's going to be a good one. So until then, I hope you all have a safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and remember, what we can't see doesn't always mean it isn't real. Thank you for tuning in to Did You Hear That? Good night, everyone.